The part of the show people never see.
All right, good morning from Utah Route 12. As far as road trips go, this one might be one of the best.
Jay Boomer's little nest where he likes to sit.
That is my hideaway.
A blacktop trail into the heart of Utah's red rock landscapes.
I'll get all that stuff because I got it. It's kind of like Jenga right now.
A somewhat secret drive that connects two of the nation's best national parks.
We can't miss. We're just everywhere we pointed, it's solid gold.
Bryce Canyon National Park and its popular hoodoo formations draw big crowds all year long.
Man, this is so cool to be able just to get out here.
But just a few hours on this scenic drive will lead you to one of America's lesser-known national parks that is a must-see stop for any landscape photographer.
All right, it is a beautiful Thursday morning in Capitol Reef National Park. Zach, you ready to maybe do a little walk and check this out?
Let's go find a narrow.
Yeah.
On this adventure, we're slowing down our drive on Utah Scenic Route 12 to explore the hidden gems found around every corner.
It almost looks to me like what would have been like a hunting lair.
From historic towns that have weathered decades of sand and wind,
And these old homes that were once these magnificent, grand places that are less grand now.
to hikes that lead into stunning canyons.
Anytime these canyon walls get super close like this, it's just great.
The hidden beauty of Capitol Reef National Park, and in our book, the only way to get there on Utah Route 12.
And then Zach back there is going to have hopefully something to show you.
A drive that definitely makes it tough to keep your eyes on the road.
Is another reason why this drive is one of the best you'll find in America. Let's go.
When you travel, the world becomes a smaller place. When you explore with friends that share a love of photography, destinations come to life.
Are you not entertained?
We tell the stories of travel with our cameras, capturing images of the most beautiful places on Earth. But every adventure reveals more than what's found in the frame. The people, the food, and the unexpected turns that happen on every journey.
No, he's going downtown on you. Hang on a second.
Brings the full experience of travel into focus. The American West was made for road trips. Wide open views, red rock and sagebrush, wind in your hair, and some of the best national parks in the world. After a 2-day run outside of Las Vegas to Zion and Bryce Canyon National Parks, Dave, Zach, and I decided to hit another park not far from Bryce, Capitol Reef National Park. But the secret sauce for getting to Capitol Reef is to skip the fast-track interstate run and instead take the longer but much more scenic Route 12 right through the heart of some of the nation's top road trip country.
The part of the show people never see.
Yeah.
All the packing of gear.
Tetris.
There's Jay Boomer's little nest where he likes to sit. Actually, he's got a seat down right now.
That is my hideaway.
All right, I'll get all that stuff because I got it. It's kind of like Jenga right now.
All right, good morning from Utah Route 12, Scenic Byway Route 12. We just left Bryce Canyon National Park. Snow on the ground, chilly morning. It says 32 outside right now. It was a little close. I think it was 20 overnight. And we had a great shoot in Bryce Canyon. Now we've got a full road trip day ahead of us. This 2-lane highway between the towns of Tropic, Utah, just outside of Bryce Canyon, and Torrey on the western end of Capitol Reef National Park begins passing through ranch lands and small towns. Without stopping, this is about a 2-hour drive, which means for us, it will take about 6.
One of the things I love doing when we're on drives like this, we're on Utah Route 12 right now. We just came into Escalante, which is the last town you get into before it gets really fun on this drive. It's kind of cool to just jump off the main road, take a loop through town, drive through the neighborhood streets. Town like Escalante that was, founded in the late 1800s. We're seeing all kinds of crazy old architecture.
Not long after we leave the town of Escalante behind, Utah 12 approaches a big shift in terrain and scenery. The dry expanse of cattle ranches and sagebrush give way to the canyonlands of the Escalante Grand Staircase, a sprawling national monument of sandstone, slot canyons, and some of the best views of any road trip in the world.
Okay, this is what's great about coming south to north on Utah Route 12, because you're just on this nice drive. It's pretty cool. You're in the sagebrush, and then you come over the hill, and that's what you see. The Escalante Grand Staircase behind you, and Utah Route 12 winding through it below. And you get to see what the whole day is gonna bring, right? Off in the distance, you can see the La Salle mountain range. Way down further to the south here, you can see, just barely see Navajo Peak sticking out above Lake Powell. And then behind over this way, you can see just above Boulder, we're gonna end up going Capitol Reef National Park's just on the other side of the hill that way. But this is a great place to sit and look at the wide expanse of how beautiful this drive is, and to know that there's this beautiful paved road that goes right through the heart of all this stuff is what makes it great, and why we're gonna have a great day today.
This drive and this scenery is so spectacular, it's almost like being on a theme park ride. The gentle curves of Utah Route 12 guide us into the Escalante River Canyon and narrows of the Calf Creek drainage. Along the way, there are many places to pull over to take in the views. We're stopping at all of them.
Okay, we're like maybe 2 miles into the Utah Route 12, heading south to north, and we're at another scenic turnout. And this one's not as good as we were thinking. It's really pretty, obviously. You can see this big river gorge behind me. But we got a lot of power lines in here. We usually don't like power lines in our shots, so we'll still get out here. Zach and Dave are up here running around on this rock trying to make something happen. The thing with scenic turnouts in Utah 12 is the entire drive is basically a scenic turnout, one giant one. But they do make these really great places where you can get a few cars pulled off the side of the road safely. I recommend taking all of them. We're gonna take each and every one today. And we're also gonna stop off the side of the road where there isn't a scenic turnout sign, as long as it's safe.
When you take this drive, especially if you do it in the summer months, make sure your supplies and water are topped off. Not only can it be brutally hot and dry here, there's not much in the way of stores or gas stations between Escalante and the small town of Boulder further up the road. There are some insanely beautiful hiking trails here, like the Calf Creek Trail that leads to lower Calf Creek Falls. But like we often suggest on road trips like this, pulling over almost anywhere and exploring not far from the car can lead to unexpected wonders.
Yeah, so what I'm looking at right now, when Dave and I were here back in 2011, we happened to just stop in this area just for the heck of it, just to take a break. And we got out, I walked over to the edge and I looked down and I saw this natural cave kind of cut out, the same type of ones that you see the Anasazi dwellings built into. And I looked and it looked like there was a dwelling there. So we got the cameras out, looked at it, sure as heck, there was a dwelling, the remnants of a dwelling that looks like it hadn't been found before. It's kind of off the beaten path. You know, I don't know how many of those are out here. Typically, if you can see it from the road, somebody else has probably seen it and they've probably gone in and trashed it or looted it. Anyway, coming up the road just now, all these years later, I was looking out the window. I said, Dave, I think this is the spot. So we pulled over, we got out, we walked over to the edge, and lo and behold, and we'll cut to the footage from my 600 millimeter lens zoomed all the way in, and you can see clearly the remnants of what maybe doesn't look like a real established dwelling. It almost looks to me like what would have been like a hunting lair, or a place like maybe just a temporary kind of a shelter, maybe a place to just stay out of the sun.
To get a better look, Zach is putting the drone to work. We didn't have drones or a 600 millimeter lens when we were here 11 years ago, so being able to fly right in the front door gives us a clear picture of this lost piece of human history found once again in the canyon walls. As As Utah 12 climbs out of Calf Creek and onto the mesa top, amazing views of the upper Escalante staircase stretch out from both sides of the car.
All right, where have we stopped here, bud?
Well, we were driving through Route 12 here and we need some supplies. We stopped in Boulder and to see what Hills Hollow means, guys.
All right, let's go check it out. There wasn't a whole lot open in here, so we're gonna check it. Check it. We got pretty good selection in here. Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ice cream. Good to go.
Oh, Zach's in heaven right now.
Convenience store stops like this in small, off-the-grid towns like Boulder are always a fun way to break up the drive. Locally made snacks and souvenirs can usually be found on stops like this, and I love bringing home stuff from places like Hills Hollow's Mini Mart. Climbing higher into the aspens above Boulder on Utah 12 means we're about to top out near Homestead Point Overlook. With elevations now nearing 10,000 feet, snow still blankets the hillsides here and make for wild contrasts for photography as red rock canyons and distant peaks frame the landscapes.
Okay, so Utah 12, after you pass through Boulder, going south to north on our way to Capitol Reef National Park, starts to climb quickly out of Boulder. But these are the kind of views that you have, you guys. Look at this stuff here. Dave's setting up, Zach's shooting up here. We're at a little turnout, and you are looking down into the canyon lands of southern Utah, all the way into Arizona. Navajo Peak, way off in the distance back there, that's actually in Arizona. That's on the border. The border of Arizona and Utah sort of runs through Lake Powell, which you can't see, but it's kind of right below us out there. This look where we have birch trees, snow, into aspen, into pine forest, then into red rock and juniper all the way down, all in one frame, is another reason why this drive is one of the best you'll find in America.
As the day winds down and the sun sets over the final miles of our drive on Utah Route 12, the stately walls and rock spires of Capitol Reef National Park greet us in the distance. Torrey, Utah will be our home for the next 2 nights, and an early morning wake-up call to catch the sunrise over Capitol Reef will come too soon.
See the light of the stars, hear the sound of the unseen.
All right, it is a beautiful Thursday morning in Capitol Reef National Park.
Yeah, it is.
And we're just getting the day started. We just left the hotel, and Zach and Dave are getting ready for the first shot of the day.
Capitol Reef is one of the least known of America's 63 national parks. With rockstar parks like Zion, Bryce, Arches, and Canyonlands surrounding it, and its remote location, most people that come here do so with a purpose. It's not usually on the bucket list of national parks to see in Utah, but as sunrise electrifies the colors of the sandstone formations here, it's easy to understand why Cap Reef is a must-see national park.
Okay, just did the short hike up to Twin Rocks, just on the road, just inside the park entrance here at Capitol Reef National Park in Utah. And when you hike up to Twin Rocks, this is what you see. Beautiful. Big, giant sandstone features on a pedestal here. You can see here, I'm just kind of hiking around just below the Twin Rocks features here. Second of the rocks there.
The main drive through Capitol Reef on State Route 24 leads through a major geologic feature in Utah known as the Water Pocket Fold. From above, this 100-mile feature can be seen on the landscape. A massive tilt and shift in the Earth's crust creates the gentle sloping of central Utah's plateaus into the vertical red cliffs seen along the park's scenic drive to the south. Driving deeper into the park and past the impressive walls that frame the western edge of Capitol Reef, it's easy to keep your gaze fixed upward at these jaw-dropping formations. But like most places, if you get out for a short hike into the landscape, your perspective changes and the detail of the sands beneath your feet calls out. Here, clear crystals of gypsum called selenite form a diamond-like crust in the red sand, sparkling in the late winter sun. I turned down the Capitol Reef Scenic Drive in the historic town of Fruita, where the visitor center and campground are found, leads us to a hike Dave and I have done before when we visited Capitol Reef in 2011. I have to say, coming here a decade later, my appreciation for Cap Reef has grown deeper as we approach the trailhead for the Narrows hike in a canyon called the Grand Wash.
Well, Dave, we did this drive and hike before, and this is more impressive than I remember it being. This is pretty cool.
With cool weather and the sun trying to shine brighter, Zach, Dave, and I begin the short hike into the Grand Wash to find a popular destination in Capitol Reef.
All right, we're in the Grand Wash Trail right now, doing a little hike here to an area called the Narrows, which usually indicates a place where the canyon walls become closer together than they currently are. And I've done this hike a long time ago, and I don't remember it being so darn beautiful. I remember liking it, but my appreciation for it has grown or changed, but it's just awesome. This is a great little 1 mile and a half hike, I think. And anytime you get into these big canyons and they get closer, the walls get closer together, and you feel that, boxing in kind of feel, it's really cool. And the photography here is beautiful. The guys are having a good time. Zach's going nuts, and Dave's having fun shooting with the 70 to 200 mil in here. Lots of cool lighting. The sky's knocked down just a little bit from full blue. We've got some high cirrus clouds of approaching storm coming in, so it's kind of nice because it's like a built-in neutral density filter for us. We're kind of digging it.
On a walk like this, Zach, Dave, and I usually spread out to capture our own visual stories of what we feel here. The sand and gravel beneath our feet, the Utah blue above us, slowly giving way to an approaching storm, and stone walls closing tighter on the path ahead. Give life to the images framed by friends choosing a piece of this palette to tell a story.
All right, we're getting ready to go into the Narrows part of the Narrows now. Kind of did the hike from back there. Been walking in this wash the whole time. This is called the Grand Wash. And Dave has just finished getting some shots. And now we're gonna walk into the section where it's called the Narrows for a reason. So we're gonna find out right now.
Go check it out.
Let's do it. It's getting good there.
Getting good. It's
Yeah.
just a nice, easy walk too. I mean, this wash is just pleasant. Just a nice, easy stroll from the truck. And got these great walls to look at. Definitely worth it.
Water and wind have played a major part of how Capitol Reef was formed. This entire area, known as the Water Pocket Fold, gets its name from the small catches of water in sandstone that have been carved here over time.
Okay, so we made it to the Narrows part of the hike. This is sort of the payoff to the Grand Wash hike when you take the scenic route south of Fruita in Capitol Reef National Park, and it's pretty cool. We did not come here last time.
No,
I don't remember making it all the way to here, and this is worth it, right? Pretty cool. Anytime these canyon walls get super close like this, it's just great, man. It just feels cool. That's why everybody does it. You want to get in these little box canyons and immerse yourself into it. It's awesome.
It reminds you how small you are.
It does remind you of how small you are. Yeah, because these walls are what'd you say, probably 300, 400 feet tall around you?
Yeah, right here.
Yep, right here. It's a decent little hike. We got a lot more to do though, so we're gonna go back and hit Fruitia next and shoot that. We've got about 1.5 miles back to the car, right?
Yep.
Let's go.
The main hub in Capitol Reef, besides the nearby town of Torrey, is found among the historic apple orchards, campgrounds, and park headquarters in Fruitia.
Okay, now this is really cool. We're with some people from Clovis. This is our hometown, right? Tell me your names.
Neil Mallory.
And Sarah Mallory.
Right on, you guys. Is it your first time to Cap Reef?
Yep.
Okay, so what did you guys do? What do you think?
We went to Cassidy Arch and we hiked up there. We did the scenic drive, and then probably gonna do some other hikes tomorrow.
Yeah. How about you? What do you think of this place?
Oh, I really enjoyed the fact that Cassidy Arch was named after Butch Cassidy, because I was like, had a feeling, and apparently he had a hideout in the
he did.
the Great Wash. The biggest reason why we came here is we were looking to visit a national park on our way back from skiing, and this one was the only one that we could find availability to camp at. And so we're like, well, if there's availability, then that's where we're going, and we're glad that we made that decision.
You know, a lot less crowded. We were up on the arch basically by ourselves, so
It is a lot less crowded, and especially
great.
this time of the year.
Yeah.
to have a little solitude in a national park.
Yeah.
Plus, you gave me a celebrity.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. You guys are too kind.
With a full day of exploring Capitol Reef National Park coming to an end, we decide to post up at a stop in the park called the Goosenecks to capture the setting sun.
All right, the day is winding down here in Capitol Reef, and we've been chasing the light, chasing the sun, waiting for the clouds to do what they're gonna do. We've ended up at Goosenecks. That's one of the best places in the park to take in the sunset, and it's pretty amazing. You look behind me here. I'm right on the edge of the big gorge. You get a little closer to the edge here so you can see. But that's the big Goosenecks gorge down below. So this viewpoint is really pretty for this, not to mention this incredible sunset that's lining up. Anyway, we're gonna just pretty much camp out here the rest of the day and take in this great view. Let me show you this over here real quick. That is why you come to Goosenecks. Look at that panorama. Sunset, red rock. We're lucky enough to have these great clouds in the sky today. And man, oh man, what a way to end the day at Capitol Reef.
Capitol Reef National Park is remote, and because of that, large crowds are not a thing here. While the park has its main attractions like Hickman Natural Bridge, one of my favorite things to do here is just walk into the desert and find a place that speaks to me. Beauty abounds here in every direction, and to find true solitude in a major national park in America is becoming a rare thing.
Okay, so we just ended our day at Capitol Reef National Park with a really cool sunset. It didn't blow up like we were hoping it would. It didn't, yeah, it'll be something, and Zach back there is gonna have hopefully something to show you. We're gonna cut that in. What a great day. Playing in the park with my two besties, having a good time, taking some pretty pictures, and being able to show you guys this lesser known but really worthy national park in the national park system. Capitol Reef does not get all the bells and whistles that Yosemite or Yellowstone get, Glacier National Park gets. But man, if you love photography, this place will not let you down.
And we will walk these hills like before. And what was sown in tears, we'll reap with joy.
Beauty like this knows no boundaries. It doesn't recognize lines on a map. These places have existed here long before we invented the idea of calling them national parks. But with that title, these lands became protected. And today, in a state overflowing with natural beauty, California's 9 national parks are among some of the most spectacular landscapes on Earth. This is Kings Canyon National Park, known for its collection of the largest trees and one of the deepest gorges in the world.
Just making our way down the gorge, and this is the part of the road where it's pretty dicey. You gotta pay attention.
We've come here in the off-season, when crowds retreat and autumn begins its soft songs of change.
All right, so we're having fun here today in Kings Canyon National Park, beautiful California, where it was 175 degrees last week, average temperature.
Kings Canyon exists in a shadow of popularity, just downrange on the Sierra Nevada from the state's headliner park, Yosemite. But for us, that's a good thing, because these trails and mighty river have a quiet beauty and grandeur that doesn't need the spotlight. And because of that, exploring here as the seasons change gives space for something special to happen and for lifelong memories to be made.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, this is one of the best camping spots in here. This is like literally we lucked out big time.
The outdoors is always calling to us. Hearing that call and choosing to answer it sets in motion a journey that can lead to a moment where light and camera conspire to capture the perfect frame. When you travel, the world becomes a smaller place. When you explore with friends that share a love of photography, destinations come to life. Are you not entertained? We tell the stories of travel with our cameras, capturing images of the most beautiful places on Earth. But every adventure reveals more than what's found in the frame. The people, the food, and the unexpected turns that happen on every journey.
Wanna go? No, he's going downtown on you. Hang on a second.
Brings the full experience of travel into focus. When we think of adventures and travel, our imaginations usually wander to places far away. Long plane rides, navigating foreign airports, discovering new and unfamiliar places to explore. But the real test of a traveler's heart is to still find adventure in places we know all too well. To find something new in landscapes we've been to all our lives. As Dave, Zach, and I begin a drive we've all made many times before, not far from our homes in Central California, to a national park we know quite well, the challenge is set. To film with fresh eyes on a 2-day overnight camping trip in Kings Canyon National Park. So Kings Canyon is a park that a lot of times is kind of in the shadow of the popularity of Yosemite National Park to the north. That park gets 4 million visitors. I'm not sure what the visitors are on Kings Canyon, but it's a lot less. But it's no less beautiful. It has the tremendous Grants Grove, which we're going to check out, home to the second largest by volume tree in the world. And we're also going to do some camping down in Cedar Grove. And we're going to do a little meadow exploring and all kinds of fun stuff we're going to see here. The drive from Fresno, California up to the park entrance takes a little over an hour and rises into the lush conifer forest filled here with pines, fir trees, and giant sequoia. Our plan is to drive past the park's famous Grants Grove, the world's largest remaining collection of skyscraping trees that are thousands of years old, and visit the popular stop tomorrow on our way home. On the backside of the gorge, Highway 180 begins its dramatic drop into the namesake gorge here, Kings Canyon. At over a mile in depth, It's one of North America's deepest canyons, glacially carved during subsequent ice ages spanning the last 2.5 million years. I haven't been up to Kings Canyon since the last large wildfire that burned here. A blaze called the Rough Fire started by lightning strike in these mountains on July 31st, 2015. Over the next several months, and in spite of massive firefighting efforts, the Rough Fire burned nearly 152,000 acres and threatened the park's rare sequoia trees. The views from Highway 180 on this drop into Kings Canyon are powerful. The landscapes here, shaped and changed by fire, are important for us to capture. Fire is a part of the life cycle and ultimately the health of forests everywhere. And while better forest management of these lands will prevent the megafires California has suffered under the last 10 years, the scars left in the wake of these burns are a sign of renewal and growth, even though now, in places like this, it still looks like destruction.
Got a little wet on us out there, huh, buddy?
Yeah, it's starting to sprinkle a little bit. It's refreshing, though. Especially after not seeing any for months.
Yeah, we don't get rain very often in this part of California. These strange water drops from the sky frighten and confuse me.
Yeah, this wet stuff's weird.
The elevation differences in Kings Canyon and the adjoining Sequoia National Park are extreme. In Kings Canyon, 14,000-foot peaks, the roof of the Sierra Nevada range, are less than 10 miles away from where we'll camp tonight in Cedar Grove at an elevation of only 4,500 feet. Those contrasts in topography and the main highway that transect it make parts of this road trip, especially in the rain, a white-knuckle ride.
All right, so this isn't going the way we were hoping. We knew rain was in the forecast, and so I guess it's not totally unexpected, but we're probably a good 10 miles away from the campground where we want to be at in Cedar Grove. We're making our way down the gorge, and this is the part of the road where it's pretty dicey. You got to pay attention to what you're doing here. It's pretty narrow, and it's a one-way ticket down. It demands your attention. The rain's just now starting to let up a little bit. You guys hearing that?
Yeah.
Getting drier.
The lower into Kings Canyon we drive, the worse the weather becomes. It's also about this time that I realized that my sleeping bag isn't getting wet in the back of my truck after all, because it's still in my garage. A rushed departure from my house has led to a big blowout on my part. No sleeping bag, the wrong sleeping pad, and no air pump to inflate it either way. Thank goodness the lodge in Cedar Grove is still opened for the season.
All right, so we're having fun here today in Kings Canyon National Park, beautiful California, where it was 175 degrees last week, average temperature. Just kidding, it was only 116. But we're here in the back and bottom of Kings Canyon National Park in Cedar Grove. It's raining. We don't have our gear really protected well in the back. And then to boot, I forgot my sleeping bag. I left it in my garage. We realized that just as we got here. So
Nude mistake.
yeah, so we were able, that's my sleeping bag for tonight. They had these really inexpensive wool blankets that were beautifully priced here in Cedar Lodge.
Very luxurious.
Yeah, I think they were only like $80 each. Yeah. So I bought so I went ahead and got 3. That's gonna be my bedding for tonight here, if we can find a camp spot. It looked like there were a lot of camp spots open. And so we're just gonna go find one, wait for the rain to hopefully let up, and then build camp in the rain.
After a quick drive around the sparsely populated Sentinel campground at Cedar Grove, signs indicated that we needed to call the Park Service hotline to reserve a spot. We doubled back to the nearby ranger station, where they directed me to something called a payphone to make the call to reservations.gov whilst standing in the rain.
I'm on the recorded message from hell loop.
After the usual frustration of navigating the automated menus,
Connecting to an agent now.
and finally getting connected to an actual human being, we paid our $22 and headed to campsite 53 as the skies finally began to clear.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is one of the best camping spots in here.
Yeah, it is.
This is like literally we lucked out big time.
It is the best. It says right there. This is the best camp spot.
Oh, Zach says there's a sign that says this is the best camp spot. So, good job, Zach. No, I love this. We're right up against the meadow, and hear the Kings River behind me back here. So, you know, little rainbow pot of gold thing going on right now. Rain's kind of letting up. It's a little bit of mist in the air. It's pretty. All right, let's set up camp.
There are several large campgrounds near the end of the road in and around Cedar Grove. These are really nice campsites with bear lockers, pit bathrooms, fresh water, and fire pits. All next to the Kings River, filling the forest with the sounds of moving water. With night settling into Kings Canyon, the dense trees and valley walls rob the fading light early. A small warming fire and simple camp dinner is all we need on this night.
I didn't realize, Dave, you were such a great big wiener chef.
We do these on the tailgate from time to time. I know my way around to Frank.
The skies have cleared, and with it, temperatures are dropping.
Yep. Just like KB, Kathy Ball would be proud.
But our hearts and minds are filled with the joys of being in this place at this time, eager to see what tomorrow brings for our cameras.
That's what happens when everybody else uses all the buns.
You didn't get a good breakfast hot dog?
You got to pivot.
What are you doing there? So we really love these big old hot dogs we found. Anyway, Zach is making his breakfast hot dog
It's a good Frank.
stromboli.
And it's not raining.
No, clear skies, we got some sun out. See the sun sort of dancing in the trees right now, which is always kind of nice. It's time to start cleaning up our quick overnight camp. And we're gonna head up to Zumwalt Meadow first for a nice little hike.
With camp cleaned and everything packed and back in the truck, we head up canyon to hike around Zumwalt Meadow near Road's End. The crowds of summer are gone in mid-September, leaving a lot of the nicer viewpoints and trailheads all to ourselves in Kings Canyon National Park as the rising sun warms the valley floor. The South Fork of the Kings River flattens here, gently meandering through the ponderosa pines and cedar that frame the beginning of the Zumwalt Meadow Loop hike.
All right, hurry up. This morning means very few people on the trail. And the trail I'm talking about is the Zumwalt Meadow Trail at the east end of Kings Canyon. This is a really beautiful 1.5-mile loop hike from the parking lot, and it circles Zumwalt Meadow along the South Fork of the Kings River. And it's relatively flat. There's no elevation gain. It's a very easy trail, and it's extremely beautiful. Lots of payoff on this one. Not a giant physically demanding investment, but I love it up here. We had rain yesterday. It's really cool. The ground's really wet, and it's got that great after the rain smell to it, which I love. And Zach and Dave and I have just kind of spread out doing our own thing. I'll meet them up on the trail somewhere, or I won't, and that'll all be okay.
The serenity of a walk along the Kings on a morning like this is special.
There's a sense of calm here that complements the setting, making this one of our favorite places to film in the park.
Okay, we're on the suspension bridge across the South Fork of the Kings on our way on the Zumwalt Meadow loop hike, about a 1.5 mile loop hike around Kings Canyon. You can see Kings Canyon in the background here behind me. This bridge is one of my favorite parts of this entire hike, as it gives you such a nice, tranquil view of the river below. A lot of shade in here, a lot of pine trees that are still healthy, a lot of black oaks, live oaks, and birch trees. And look at these views back here. Look how awesome that is.
After crossing the river, the trail moves up canyon on the south side into a talus field that's fun to navigate and opens up some of the first views of Zumwalt Meadow below. The meadow itself is closed to foot traffic sometimes for restoration, so mind the signs if you see them. For an easy walk with a lot of great places to point your camera, the Zumwalt Meadow hike in Kings Canyon is a must-do. The plan is to start heading towards Grant's Grove near the park entrance, about an hour up the road. Along the way, there are some worthy, quick stops like the short walk up to Roaring River Falls, a majestic cascade that runs strong all year with a pathway that is fully ADA compliant, so lots of folks can enjoy this one. The drive itself, back where the canyon walls become really tight, is worth a few stops in the small turnouts along the way on Highway 180. Up here, dramatic views of the Kings Canyon River reveal the power and ruggedness of these waters. As we climb up out of the canyon, we hit almost every turnout to enjoy the ever-changing views below. About the halfway point to Grant's Grove along Highway 180, signs tip us off to dangers ahead. Dangers that will require closer inspection.
Okay, so we saw the sign that warned us, caution, ice cream ahead. So we've gone ahead and stopped at the Kings Canyon Lodge here, just off of Highway 180. And we're gonna see what this looks like. Zach and Dave, of course, Zach's already up there at the window, wanting to get his ice cream. Not messing around here. All right, now I'm wondering if they have ice cream on a stick. Oh, they actually have some legitimate, single scoop, $5. So I think we're good. Dave, are you gonna have some?
I don't think so.
Okay, Dave's not a big dessert eater.
The Kings Canyon Lodge, built in 1937, was destroyed during the Rough Fire. But it is now making a comeback with this pop-up ice cream and coffee stand.
Not something you would expect to find in the Kings Canyon National Park in the middle of Highway 180 in between every point of interest, but glad it's here. Let's dig in here, see what this is all about. That's hitting the spot, dude. I'm telling you right now. Zach, I hope you are ready to go. This is gonna be good. Yeah, I know you are.
Miraculously, the fire spared these vintage gravity gas pumps that have been iconic here at the Kings Canyon Lodge for decades.
All right, just finished the ice cream. It was great. Another thing they have here at the Kings Canyon Lodge are America's oldest double gravity pumps for gasoline. And this is cool because these old pumps have fuel in them. They're completely operational. And if you come on this drive, you can pull in right here and fill up for $8.50 a gallon. Welcome to California. And that's for the good stuff, right? So we've got 91 octane over here. We got a little 87 over here. And the cool thing about these pumps is these are vintage 1928 and still in operation. Another cool point of interest along Highway 180 in Kings Canyon National Park.
Back on top of the hill near the park entrance, and where the highway cuts south to connect Sequoia National Park, we stop for a stroll through Grant's Grove. This section of Kings Canyon National Park protects a stand of giant sequoia trees accessible through walking paths.
Originally set aside by Congress in 1890, Grant's Grove is home to the namesake General Grant tree, the second largest tree by trunk volume in the world. Named after Ulysses S. Grant, the nation's 18th president, this massive sequoia also has the distinction of being the nation's Christmas tree since 1926.
All right, so this is sort of the highlight of the Grant's Grove here in Kings Canyon National Park. This is the General Grant tree, and as you can see, this thing keeps on going. It has an incredible footprint, 107 feet around, and it is something to behold if you haven't seen a giant sequoia. This one is one of the biggest, and it's breathtaking. You can see the fire scar in the tree behind me. So these giant sequoias are really designed and built to withstand fire on their own. They have really thick bark, and they can withstand a pretty good intensity fire that, as you can see in this case, burnt well up the tree and damaged the tree partially, but when you look up, that sucker's still going.
Even though the General Grant tree is the main attraction here, the giant sequoias in this grove all leave park visitors gazing upwards, amazed at the sheer size of these trees.
The serenity, the peacefulness. I know it's a little crowded right now, but as the evening comes, it starts to quiet down. You're hearing the wildlife. We're hearing birds that we usually don't hear in the valley. My daughters are getting to experience this for their first time.
Daddy told me that they'd be this big, but I just couldn't believe it until I actually saw it.
Right on. How about you, Autumn? What was your favorite part?
I think they're huge, and I absolutely love how pretty they are.
Autumn's assessment of these trees is one I wholeheartedly agree with. But even in a grove with most of the mature sequoias pushing 2,000 years old, there are many trees here that have fallen, giving visitors a different dimension of their scale.
This was a standing living tree at one point. And look at this, Zach, there's this cool window right here. Oh, there's a shot for you. A sequoia through the hole of a sequoia. All right, I don't know how that's playing exposure-wise right now, but that is neat. Right there. Zach, I think Zach can get something out of that, right? Can't you, Zach? Zach is a lot more talented than he looks. I make fun of Zach, but I love him. Love him like a brother.
America's national parks are a true gift to us all. And while they can be crowded in peak season, there are usually places to explore away from the big name attractions that many times become the places where we build the longest lasting memories. Photography in a setting like this, with so many iconic images to frame, is what brings so much joy to those of us who love to capture a moment from these landscapes. But often, as we walk camera in hand, focused on the obvious subjects towering above, we miss the detail of a location that in whole create the wonder that drew us here in the first place. In places like Kings Canyon National Park, where everything is on such a grand scale, sometimes the image we treasure the most comes from when we make our window on the world small.